Welcome back into the Enrichment Sports Source. This segment brought to you by our good friends at Madisonville Marine. They want best holiday wishes for you and your family. That's from Madisonville Marine, East Tennessee's new home for Stingray Runabout Boats. Get this one. They offer an 18-foot boat with trailer and motor starting around $21,000. That's just one of the incredible deals. Stingray Runabout Boats. Madisonville Marine, the folks down there, Joe and Steve and all the folks want to wish you and your family Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. All right. And I know I'm going to start getting emails about this. You're too lazy to move that jug off the desk. We're keeping this here so everyone will know it's a fine Mayfield's product, East Tennessee, and it's not some other type of eggnog. So I know what you're thinking. How's yours, Chuck?
That's excellent, John.
Okay. This question for Jimmy Himes. We stay with the holiday theme, though we branch out. Our first Hanukkah-themed question. Here we go. Which SEC basketball coach, Tony Barbee, Mark Fox, Billy Kennedy, Anthony Grant, or Conzo Martin, is sitting on a seat so hot it must feel like there's a menorah beneath it?
Oh, I think it's Mark Fox. Tony Barbee is a close second to me, but Mark Fox is sitting in a position where there's a greater excuse for Auburn in basketball, not for Georgia. Everybody recruits Georgia. Georgia's got terrific players. How can you not win at Georgia? I don't understand that. I'm going to go with Mark Fox.
Yeah, and plus, John, last week, didn't you have the RPI rating for Georgia is 330 or something?
334 last week, and their strength of schedule is down around 300 too.
Yeah, if anything, that's totally unacceptable.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You go back to their, what was his first year, maybe his second year. You had a couple of guys on that team that wound up in the NBA. Mm-hmm. You didn't have much of a tournament run then. No. You didn't have a great season then. I think that probably should have sent up a warning flare. If you're not winning with those two, if you're not winning on a big level, getting to the Sweet 16 and such with those two, there may be trouble to come. So I agree with you. I think Mark Fox.
I think Mark Fox, obviously, but all of those guys
have
menorahs.
Have menorahs under their chair.
Which one started the season with expectations that are not being reached, though?
That'd be Conzo
Martin.
Although Anthony Grant's going to be up there, too. I mean, he's Mr. NIT at this point. He's made one NCAA tournament and made a quick exit then. All right, Bob Hodge. What Tennessee football player is most likely to win a major award? Not necessarily a leg lamp, but next year in 2014, who's your best football player?
Tell you what, I think if he comes back, everybody's going to go with A.J. Johnson. But I'm going to go a different direction. How about, we haven't seen much of him in 2 years, Kirk Maggitt. I thought when they were freshmen, Kirk Maggitt was the better of the two linebackers. If he comes back and he's healthy, along with him, I think either one of those guys could go and win a nice leg lamp.
Okay. All right. We got a Kirk Maggitt. Anyone else that you see as the best player next year?
Marquez North, wide receiver, and the things he can do. And you saw how much you missed him against Vanderbilt too after he went out. The first series?
And that was my other pick.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
I think he's probably the other clearest star that Tennessee has.
Well, and he also plays at a position where you can make highlight plays that get seen.
I'll go a different direction. Hurd, Kelly, Bates, freshman All-America.
That's pretty strong. All right, Jimmy?
I was thinking to throw a different curve would be Jalen Hurd if he's as good as advertised coming in, because the SEC's proven that if you're a quality running back, you can be productive and have an impact. And we've seen that with several running backs in recent years.
Hope that young man's healthy.
Yes.
You've had a couple of issues, and that's we all know it's not easy to keep a running back healthy in the SEC, so you got to be a little bit concerned about a player who's had a couple of serious injuries at the high school level, stepping up into the SEC and being he's your go-to guy next year. There's no question about it. All right. Mike Strange.
Yes.
This may be my favorite of the day. Missouri has now beaten Tennessee twice, won the SEC East, and made it all the way to number 5 in the polls. Are the Tigers feeling like a fit with the SEC, or is it still just as odd a pairing as David Bowie and Bing Crosby?
Well, when we're talking in terms of competition, yes, they fit. They're competing fine. They're competing too good for Tennessee and a few other people's results. But after having been out there to a football game, no, it's still not a fit. Columbia, Missouri's in the middle of the Midwest out there. The people were as nice as could be. They got a great football team and all that, but it just didn't seem like the SEC.
How different does Arkansas now feel like the SEC? Or is that comparable if you put yourself back in the 1992 mode? Because that's even further west than Columbia, Missouri.
I know.
Did it feel more like an SEC fit to you?
I think it did. And maybe because I've had an additional 20 years of watching Missouri play in another conference.
And plus,
got it.
Arkansas has a lot of Tennessee ties through the years
Yeah.
with different coaches. I mean, you can see
you got
that.
nothing with
Missouri, no, doesn't at all to me.
Okay, so it's still an odd fit.
Yeah,
It is
very
to me.
odd. Yeah.
Odd or starting to feel more normal?
I thought it felt pretty good this year. I mean, Missouri came in; they were better than I thought they would be, and it just seemed kind of normal.
Fans are too nice to be in the SEC. They don't get it.
And so they're too nice to be in the SEC. Well, you don't do a website called Mr. SEC and get emails. Trust me. All right, last one, Chuck.
Yes.
What ex-NFL coach, like the Jelly of the Month Club, has turned into the gift that keeps on giving the whole year round? This is obvious.
Let me think here.
Ex-NFL coach has turned into the gift that keeps on giving.
John Gruden.
Jon Gruden it is. As a matter of
Bingo.
fact, I think we've got, hey, there he is. Now he's rumored the Raiders again. He said he was open to hearing from Texas because it's one of the few premier jobs in the country he would listen to. That's what the sources say. At this point, if you're a college, is there any reason to even throw this guy's name out there? I mean, it was just a few weeks ago, Pat Hayden at Southern Cal said, if he's going to coach again, he told me it's going to be in the pros. And yet, then you have Texas talk about it. Is this going to continue with every college job that comes open?
Well, somebody that clearly likes to be loved and has the ego that likes having his name out there. So I think you
great
should
agent.
forget. Yeah, I think you should forget the college thing because he is an NFL guy. I think it would be a shocking decision if he went to Texas.
I think Texas just looks silly at this point, personally.
Well, to your question, I think his name will continue to come up until he gets another job in coaching.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to do that, but I'm like others. I think if he does, it's the NFL. Because I know that when he was talking to folks about Tennessee, he was like, they got a 20-hour rule? Yeah. And, oh, by the way, what are these recruiting restrictions? The game has changed a lot since he'd been in it some 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So if he gets back in, he'll be in the pros.
I think he'll be at Texas. I think he'll coach in Texas next year.
Yeah, with the Dallas
Dallas
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
What would that mean for Derek Dooley, though? All right.
Bye-bye.
Up next, a little fun with Photoshop as we talk Butch Jones, Dave Hart, Jimmy Cheek, Conzo Martin. Come on back on the Enrichment Sports Source.